you've landed on this video today, it's because you don't like where you are right now. And I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do to get out of this current position. I've just come back from a 3-month injury. I've got an L4, L5 slip disc, so just at the bottom here. And this is something that actually occurred 6 or 7 years ago when I was 20 years old. And I've been through osteopaths, I've been through doctors, Harley Street, sciatica doctors, physios, until I found the right physio. I'm just going to shout him out, David Gray Rehab, who helped me a lot, and because of him I don't feel pain. Although I recently had a flare-up, that was on me, and that's the topic that we're on today. Is about accountability. It's about looking in the mirror and realizing that you are where you are today because of you. Now, this is something that I struggled with for many years. I was always pointing the fingers instead of pointing the thumb and saying it was my fault, and that led me to many different things. One, yes, was the injury and it being prolonged and me feeling pain for a very long time because I never dealt with it. Another one was when I moved abroad and blamed my dad for the reason that I was there, and so I became depressed and I wasn't doing anything about it, because if it was my dad who brought me over here to this country, well then it's him who's got to sort it out and make me feel better and make me do something about my life. But the day that I started to feel better was the day that I realized I'm here because of me. It was my decision to move country, and that's okay. I may not like my current position, but now you have the control to do something about it. And so we need to realize, especially as men, that we are in control. And the second you say that the reason why you are where you are is because of another man, you are handing that control, you are handing that power over. And then no wonder why you feel stuck or alone or depressed or sad, because you aren't really taking control. And so you need to understand it is your fault. It is always going to be your fault. You know, I joked around the other day. I went to a coffee shop with one of my mates, and the lady went with the card reader, and my mate went to scan his card and it wasn't scanning, and then the lady behind the till was like, "Oh, it's my fault," and moved, and then the guy who I was with was like, "Oh, it's my fault," and then scanned his card differently, and I just stood there and I was like, "Yo, guys, it's my fault." You know, ever since having a girlfriend, I realized that everything is my fault. You know, when you're in a relationship and you don't want to argue, of course, there are times where you need to actually speak about what has happened. But, you know, little things, you know, might be like you left a pair of socks in the bathroom. You're like, she did it, but actually, you know, you take accountability for it, because there's no need to argue sometimes. I just joked. I was like, since having a girlfriend, I realize everything is my fault. Even when I'm not there, it's my fault. That way, everyone can be happy. We can move on, and happy wife, happy life, and all of that kind of stuff. But really and truly, there's some truth to that. It's not a joke. You know, if you take accountability, if you're the one who says, "Hey, it's my fault, it's on me," that takes away burden, that takes away pain, that takes away the feeling of I'm stuck. And that brings you to the realization that, okay, you might have messed up. You know, the reason why you're in this position is because of you, yes. And that could be quite disheartening, but actually that should give you the confidence. That gives you the responsibility. And as a man, we need that. We need that responsibility. We need that accountability to say, okay, I can do something about it. You know, even just this morning, I was at the gym with one of my clients, very good friend of mine as well, and he said, "Bro, what's been happening? You haven't been disciplined over the past few weeks. You've put on about 2.5 kilos." I said, "Yeah, do you know what I have?" but I'm going to level up now. I'm going to level up. And he goes, bro, what on earth are you talking about? You see, this is how I know you're not in a good place, because 2 months ago, you wouldn't have said, oh, I'm going to level up. You would have just done it. You would have just gone back into the calorie deficit, eaten the right foods, eaten the right amount of foods. Go, go, go. You would have just done it instead of talking, you know? And so this is the position that I need you to take. Accountability. You are where you are because of you. And don't tell people that you are now going to diet, or now you are going to go to the gym 3 days a week. Just do it. You know, you might look in the mirror and you might say, I don't really like where I am. You know, I don't really like the physique I have. I mean, look, I've put on about 2.5 kilos. Yeah, you can kind of see the outline of my abs. I've still got some chub there. Yeah, okay, granted, it's not a lot, but I've put myself in this position, and so I need to do something about it. Because once you do something about it, then you start feeling a lot better. So what's missing is accountability, because that then leads to the work required. It's always work. Everything in life is going to be work. With anything you need to do, it is work, 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 work. But the only way to start doing that work is to come to that realization. And for many, like I mentioned before, coming to that realization might make you feel, you know, kind of sad that you've got yourself in this situation. But just like when my client told me this morning that, you know, I've kind of fell off a little bit. Yeah, I could be like, oh, do you know what? I have messed up, you know, and get depressed about it, or get sad about it, or get anxious about it. Or be like, you know what? Take it on the chin. It's okay. Shit happens. Sometimes in life you mess up, you fall off, you become less disciplined for a little while. For me, it's a week. For you, it might be a month, or 4 years, or 10 years, whatever. Cool. That's fine. Life is all about the reactions. It's not about what happens to us. God is always testing us. So I could have reacted and be like, oh no, you're just saying that because I'm still lean, I still got a nice body, I'm still disciplined. But nah, he was right. He was right. And although I didn't say that to him in that very moment, I thought about it after. I'm still thinking about it right now. You know, and so ask yourself, have you fallen off? Are you lacking discipline? Or have you been consistent at the gym? Are you hitting your calorie deficit every single day in order to lose weight and in order to feel better, so you can finally look in the mirror and have the confidence to go to your holiday this year, top off, happy days, don't need to like cover up or worry about how you feel, you know, because of what do you want to feel when you go on holiday? You know, I'll if any of you watching my my most recent videos that I made out in Greece, I was a little bit chubbier than I am now, and I think probably about 8 kilos heavier than I am now. And my brother was standing next to me, absolutely shredded, and I was like, I wasn't feeling too comfortable or too confident walking around the pool, even though it was just with my family, because I came to the realization that actually I put myself here, and you know, this is a reflection of me and my habits, my eating habits. So are you going to change your eating habits? If so, that requires work. If so, that requires you to take accountability for where you are. You know, with this whole injury that I had, I eventually found the right physio. Eventually, after years and years and years of trying. But that took work. And the same way, you're only going to start working if you take accountability. I only started working and finding the right people to help me when I realized that, okay, I'm injured, I'm in pain, that's okay. I'm accountable to it. I don't know how it happened, don't know why it happened, but now that it's on my back, literally, I need to take accountability for it. And so I took accountability, and I spent hundreds, in fact thousands of pounds to eventually come up with a solution. And now I know exactly what exercises I need to do to feel better. so that I don't get flare-ups, so that I don't get the sciatica, so that I don't feel pain. And when I don't do my physio exercises on a day-to-day or every other day or at least 3 days a week, then I get injured again. Why? Because I didn't take accountability. I didn't say, okay, I've got a slip disc, this means I must stay consistent with my exercises. Just today I was doing 25 kilo RDLs. Bear in mind, in the past I've done 125 kilo. And so what's the difference? The difference is I'm weak, I'm just coming back from an injury. I know that I need to work on my hip hinge. For any of you who don't know what a hip hinge is, it's this movement. And because I've got a slip disc, it's always been very hard for me to perform a hip hinge properly without feeling any pain. But only once I spent thousands of pounds finding the right physio to teach me how to do a hip hinge properly, that's when I started doing it properly and started reaching higher numbers and getting stronger with it. Stronger lower back, stronger glutes, stronger hamstrings. All because I took accountability. So this is always going to lead back to taking accountability. If you don't like where you are today, take accountability. If you don't like your physique, take accountability. If you don't like how much money you have in your bank account, take accountability. If you don't like how sad you are, take accountability. If you don't like the fact that you don't have a girlfriend, take accountability. It's always your fault. And once you come to that realization, then nobody can stop you, because you're going to do everything in your power to get out of that situation. I just got back from an injury. I was injured for 3 months. Every single day I was doing my physio exercises because I had to feel better. Physically, mentally, it was draining. I won't lie to you and say that I've calmed down with the amount of physio exercises that I'm doing, but I said to myself, I must do at least 3 days a week, and I'm sticking to it. You know, sometimes it doesn't require us to do so much to get out of our position, but it requires us to take accountability so we can do something. And slowly but surely, something small will turn into something big, because things accumulate. You do these micro progressions day by day, week by week, month by month, year by year, all of a sudden you're a completely different person. And that all started with you holding yourself accountable and then taking action. That's it. That's the answer. So, if you want to hear more about the kind of stuff that I'm speaking about here, mindset, mentality, you know, things you need to do at the gym, things you need to do with your nutrition, head to my Instagram. I'll be posting plenty of my stories on my day-to-day, showing you a little bit about the lifestyle and what I'm doing and what I'm creating and what I'm doing with my clients. If you want to jump on a call and speak about how I can help you achieve your physique, build your mindset, and actually get you to a point where you do like the way you look, you do have confidence in yourself, you are disciplined, you are consistent with the gym, with your nutrition, with everything you say you're going to do, then click the link below. You can book a call with me. We can speak about how I can help. And if I can help, I'd love to help. If not, I help you find someone that can, or I'll lead you to whichever direction I think you need to go in. But for now, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.